Das Video wollte ich mir angucken, weil ich das echt interessant finde. Das sind 35 Karten in Clash Royale, die das Spiel kaputt gemacht hätten, weil die zu OP gewesen wären, Chat. 33 Karten, die auch wirklich quasi geplant waren, manche davon von Supercell, aber die sie rausgenommen haben, weil die viel zu OP wären.
Card ideas over the years. Some brilliant, but what if they did? Number 1, portals. Imagine
Portale ist Karte Nummer 1.
placing a portal entrance on your side of the arena and instantly warping troops to the other lane or even behind the enemy tower. That is what the portal card was designed to do. It would cost 4 Elixir and let players control space like never before. On paper, it sounds brilliant. In reality, total chaos. The concept was to place an entrance and an exit anywhere on the map.
Das wäre viel zu... Bruder, imagine, du kannst egal wo was hinsetzen. Stellt euch mal vor, ihr setzt das Portal hier hinter den Turm, macht dann ein Portal und macht dann sowas wie Ballon. Zum Beispiel. Ballon Instant Hit. Also Ballon kann ja nicht mal aufgehalten werden, weil er einfach direkt hinter dem Turm spammt. Oder Pekka oder so ein Scheiß. Das wäre ja viel zu OP.
Creating a direct link for troops to pass through.
Guck mal.
Defensive setups would collapse.
Bruder, guck mal bitte, Schweinereiter ist einfach direkt da.
Strategies would flip and counters like splash damage would lose their value. You could
Bruder, nein, wie willst du ihn aufhalten? Wie willst du ihn aufhalten?
bypass entire pushes with a single placement. Supercell scrapped the idea because of
Bruder, Sparky
balanced
spawned von, das ist so krank.
They eventually released the concept of the Mighty Miner, whose ability mimics a teleport, but only for himself.
Nein, das ist auch krank.
Full portal? Now that would have just been meta-shattering. It is a card that would have broken not just matches, but the entire way Clash Royale is played. Number 2. Wizard Tower.
Wizard Tower, das ist doch bei Clash of Clans. Magierturm.
If you played Clash of Clans, you already
Als Maul, Bruder, sagt auch noch Clash of Clans dann, Digga. Gänsehaut.
know how deadly the Wizard
Bruder, imagine, man würde als Turm einfach Magiertürme haben. Die würden einfach alle kleinen Truppen sofort direkt wegseppen.
Tower is. It's a building that dishes out splash damage with rapid fire magic. Now imagine replacing the Princess Towers in Clash Royale
Nein. Bruder.
with Wizard Towers. Yeah, Supercell already considered that. The Wizard Tower would have been a built-in tower with area damage instead of single-target shots. Sounds cool until you realize
Das wäre viel zu OP, guck
it
mal.
would completely shut down swarm cards, bridge spam, and air decks. While the
Skelette, Kobolde, Lakaien, alle werden geisteskrank guckt One-Shot. Die werden einfach alle One-Shot.
idea was eventually scrapped, it shows how close Supercell came to completely redefining defense in Clash Royale. In the end, it was likely removed because it
Guck mal,
gave too much
guck mal,
value
bitte
for
guck
no
mal.
skill, leading to lopsided matches where weaker players could dominate just by doing nothing. Still, you gotta admit,
Bruder, Barbaren, einfach direkt
the visual
weg.
of the triple firing Wizard Tower sounds pretty awesome. Number 3, Giant
Großer Drache?
Dragon. We have Baby Dragon, Skeleton Dragons, and
Okay.
Inferno Dragon, but Supercell once considered going full fantasy with a massive, full-sized dragon. This wasn't just some fireball sneezing cousin of the Baby Dragon, this was a tower-sized beast with massive
Legendary mit Flächenschaden und 2...
HP, AoE splash, and the raw power of a legendary card. The dragon was scrapped for a few reasons. First, it was just too big to properly fit in the arena. Second, it dominated simulations, melting troops and buildings alike before counters could even reach it. Instead,
Das müsste 15 Elixir sein, ne?
Supercell gave us the Phoenix, which is about as close as we'll ever get. But the original dragon, it was less of a support card and more of a flying win condition. If it made it to the game,
Gott sei
you'd
Dank,
either
dass
run
es
it
gekommen,
or
Bruder.
lose to it. Number 4, Elixir Storage. What if you could
Elixir Storage, es gibt Elixir Sammler, wo du Elixir sparen kannst und einfach drinnen behalten kannst.
bank Elixir? Save it for later. That is
Einfach
exactly what the Elixir Storage building
100, nein, die haben Storage-Raum für 100 Elixir, kannst du drin sparen?
was meant to do. This card would let you store up to 100 Elixir.
Nein, Bruder. Die wollen einfach, dass ich dann auf einmal 20 Mega-Ritter auf einmal droppe, ne? Bruder, was ist das für ein Scheiß?
Seriously, imagine dropping a Golem, 3 Musketeers, and Elite Barbarian barbarians at the same time. You could save overflow elixir and unleash it in massive, overwhelming waves. Sounds
Bruder, das wäre zu krank geworden. Also, man hätte das irgendwie auf eine Art und Weise handeln können, dass es doch cool ist, aber das ist viel zu viel.
fun, right?
Das ist
Supercell
zu viel,
wisely
Bruder.
threw this idea into the vault, but
Was
for
gar
a brief
keine
moment,
Chance.
Clash Royale almost became a game where you could hoard elixir like gold and flood the map with madness. Just imagine facing someone with 100 elixir and knowing you're
Bruder, wie sieht das aus,
already
Mann?
dead. Number 5, Barbarian King. The Golden Knight we
Barbarenkönig.
have today, that wasn't the original plan. Supercell originally wanted to bring a true Barbarian King, complete with custom charge ability and defensive spawner pad. It would have been a direct champion card, modeled after his Clash of Clans counterpart. Tanky, melee, and able to summon reinforcements or
Ja, mit Barbaren erwecken, ne? Mit Barbaren erwecken, Bruder.
buff nearby allies. The Barbarian King was meant to feel like a battlefield commander, but when early versions proved too clunky and hard to balance, they shelved him. Instead, we got the Golden Knight.
Ja, Golden Knight ist ja aber, ja, stimmt. Golden Knight ist ja mäßig schon ein bisschen Barbarenkönig. Ist ja ein großer Kämpfer, der stark ist halt, ne?
Flashy mobile duelist with a
Ich finde den echt richtig geil
dash
auch, ne?
mechanic that still gives players nightmares. But let's be honest, a fully functional Barbarian King charging down the lane with spawn troops behind him, that is not a champion. That is a win condition disguised as a leader. We might have missed out on one of the most iconic
besser
cards
ist er.
that could have
Nein,
broken the
besser.
ladder in style. By the way, if you are enjoying this so far, please Barbarian Spawner.
Elite Barbarian Spawner, also Hütte. Eine Elite Barbarenhütte.
Just hearing the words Elite Barbarians is enough to make most Clash Royale players roll their eyes. Now imagine a card that spawns 4 of them.
Also einer wollte einfach, dass wir aufhören zu spielen, ne? Nein.
And that is exactly what the Elite Barbarian Spawner would have done. Costing 8 elixir, it would have worked like the
Nur 8! 8 Elixir?
Barbarian HUD, but instead of spawning regular barbs, it spawned 2 pairs of E-barbs over time. Each E-barb normally costs 3 elixirs, so this spawner gave you 12 elixir value for 8. And worse, it created non-stop lane pressure. Defend one wave of elite barbarians, and by the time you counter-pushed, another wave was coming. Supercell scrapped this idea quickly,
Besser
likely
ist es.
after realizing how
Das ist besser.
toxic it would
Bruder.
make mid-ladder. Combine this with Rage or Lumberjack, and you'd create an endless death loop of bridge spam that no one could escape. In the right hands, it wouldn't just break the meta, it would break your soul. Number 7, Trojan Horse. Take the concept
Okay.
of Battle Ram and crank it up to 11. That is the Trojan Horse, a giant wooden siege card that slowly rolled toward enemy towers like a ticking time bomb. But here's the twist, the Trojan Horse
Guck mal, ihr seht schon im Konzept, das sind Karten, die waren wirklich in Planung. Ihr seht das jetzt, ne?
didn't just charge and break. Once it reached a tower, it exploded, destroying everything in the area, and then deployed troops hidden inside, essentially combining damage, distraction, and a push all in
Trojaner,
one. It would have cost
Trojaner
6 elixir
Pferd.
and been considered a moving building, making it the first of its kind. That alone broke the design rules Clash Royale follows: buildings don't move, and siege units don't explode and deploy support. Supercell killed the idea because there was no clean counter to it. You couldn't kite it like a building, and if you didn't
Aber es explodiert, das heißt, alles um dich rum stirbt. Plus hat auch noch Truppen drinne danach.
stop it early, you'd eat an explosion and a troop wave. Balance-wise, this thing was a nightmare waiting to happen. Number 8, Mini Sparkies. Yeah, you heard that right. Mini Sparkies. Supercell once played with the idea of tiny Sparkies that looked pretty adorable and hit like
Stell dir mal vor, ein Funky-Haus. Bruderherz, was?
a truck. Each Mini Sparky would deal the same massive damage as regular Sparky, but with low HP, making them vulnerable to spells like Log and Zap. They'd spawn as a group, probably 2 or 3 at a time, and cost around 9 elixir.
Der ist einfach, nein, der ist einfach, habt ihr gesehen? Der Riese ist einfach in einer Sekunde gestorben! Der war tot!
In theory, it sounds fun, but in practice, Terrifying. Imagine failing to counter a group of mini Sparkies. One slips through, charges up, and one-shots your tower. That is a mistake that you wouldn't get to make twice. Now imagine dealing with them every game in mid-ladder. While the animation for mini Sparkies looked amazing, the reality is that it would have introduced way too much burst damage into the game. One wrong move and you're 3-crowned in under a minute. Supercell buried this idea, and for good reason. Number 9. Chain Tesla. The regular Tesla has always been a low-key mess.
Soll Chain Tesla sein.
But what if it had an upgrade, one that could zap multiple targets at once? That's
ich sage, das könnte man vielleicht aber auch droppen, sage ich.
what the Chain Tesla was meant to be, a new building that fired electric arcs.
Also Elektrizität auf so 2, 3, nicht nur auf 1. Könnte man eigentlich machen, sage ich. Bisschen mehr Elixir oder so, weniger Laufzeit, aber...
Chaining its damage between up to 3 units at once, similar to how the Electro Dragon or multi-target Inferno works. The idea was scrapped because it overlapped with existing cards too much, like Electro Wizard and Electro Dragon, but because it was also impossible to balance. It was too weak in some matchups and completely shut down others. Supercell's design philosophy avoids do-it-all cards, and this one checked every box. Powerful, splash, anti-air, cheap, and invincible when idle. Yeah, this thing would have been the definition of a meta breaker. Number 10. Mega Pekka. We already have the Mini Pekka and regular Pekka, but for a short time, Supercell considered the most dangerous version yet.
Warte mal kurz. Die Mega Pekka, meinen die damit einen noch größeren Pekka?
This unit came in 3 versions during testing. One form had infinite damage but super low health, similar to the Super Mini Pekka in the seasonal modes. One version spawned a Mini Pekka on death and another only targeted towers, acting like a walking doomsday machine. It would have been a legendary drop with costs ranging from 7
9 Elixir, Bruder.
to 9 Elixir depending on which version was being tested. But here is the problem. All 3 versions were completely broken. Infinite damage meant no counterplay. Spawning a Mini Pekka on death gave guaranteed trade value. And a Pekka that
Einfach er stirbt und droppt einen Mini-Pekka, Bro.
ignored everything except towers, that was a nightmare. Supercell shut down the
Besser
Mega
ist es, Bruder, ich schwöre.
Pekka idea before it got out of the lab,
Digga.
and good call, because this thing would have ended defense as we know it. Number 11. Multi-Target Inferno Tower.
Ja, ich wusste, dass das kommt. Ich schwöre, nachdem ich gesehen habe, Tesla und so, ein Inferno-Turm mit mehreren Nein, Bro.
Now, we all know how terrifying a single Inferno Tower can be when it ramps up. Now imagine one that could do that to multiple troops at once. The multi-target Inferno Tower was inspired
Bruder, bitte.
by its Clash of Clans counterpart, which deals ramping damage to multiple enemies in a chain-like pattern. In Clash Royale,
Das ist zu krank. Bruder, aber stell dir mal vor, du bist so einer, der mit so Heavy-Truppen spielt, mit so, keine Ahnung. Du spielst mit Riese, Mega-Ritter, Pekka oder sowas, du kriegst kaputt.
this would have meant splitting that deadly
Guck mal,
laser
guck mal! Bruder! Du droppst... Nein, du droppst Pekka und Riese, beide weg. Beide down.
across 2 or even 3
Guck mal! Nein, du bist guckt. Ich hätte das Spiel gelöscht, ich schwör bei Gott.
units simultaneously.
Ja, 4, ne? 4. Guck mal.
It was designed as a counter to swarm heavy pushes, bridge spam, and tank support combos, but in testing,
Guck mal! Alle down!
turned out to be way too efficient. Supercell scrapped the idea, not just because it was overpowered, but because it completely strategic diversity. When one building can counter everything, there's no room left for creativity or comeback potential. This one would have broken the meta beyond repair. Number 12. Gift Spell. At first glance, the gift spell
Giftfluch.
sounds festive and fun, but it was dangerously close to turning Clash Royale into a slot machine. Here's how it worked. Casting the gift spell would randomly summon any one card in the game, even if it wasn't in your deck. Yeah, even champions.
Es ist einfach eine Karte, die einfach eine random Karte spawnen lassen würde. Also egal wen, es kann eine random Karte droppen, wenn du die droppst.
Even evolutions, even win conditions you didn't bring with you. There was no reliable
Guck mal, wie krank das aussieht, Chat.
counter strategy. The chaos was part of the appeal, but Supercell ultimately scrapped the idea.
Digga, stell dir vor, er droppt irgendwas Krankes, was du so, das ist ja krank.
The last thing Clash Royale needed was more uncontrollable RNG. Number 13. Hologram Tower. a fake building designed to trick your opponent. It looked like a normal tower to your enemy, but in reality it did nothing. No attack, no defense, just a hologram taking up space and baiting out spells or misplays. It was essentially a mind game card. This could have been used to bait a fireball, block troop pathing, or even trick an opponent into ignoring a lane. Supercell axed the concept, deciding that
Ist ja richtig kacke, weil man weiß doch, dass die drei hier die Main Tower sind. Man weiß doch automatisch, dass es dann eine Fake-Karte. Hä?
Clash Royale wasn't built for high-level bluff mechanics. Still, the idea of a fake tower lives rent-free in many players' heads.
Das tot.
Number 14, Bear Trap. The Bear Trap was a 4-elixir epic card that worked like
Bärenfalle.
an invisible mine, hidden on the battlefield until a troop stepped on it. Once triggered, it would deal massive single-target damage, enough to destroy most support troops or heavily injured
Wait, das
tanks.
ist cool.
It was a direct nod to the trap mechanics
Das ist eine Falle, die man erstmal nicht sieht. Das ist geil.
in Clash of Clans, designed to punish predictable pathing or brute force pushes.
Das ist geil. Das ist geil.
Sounds great, right? Here's the problem. It was completely invisible until triggered, which made it nearly impossible to play around. Supercell scrapped it because it made the game feel unfair. Getting punished for playing normally without a chance to react doesn't feel like a
Ja, ist ein bisschen OP, aber ich finde, das ist eine Karte, die hätte man reinbringen können. Die ist nicht so schlimm.
skill issue. It just feels cheap. The Bear Trap was too sneaky for Clash Royale's reactive combat style. Number 15, the Ghost. Before the Royal Ghost became the beloved stealth assassin we know today, Supercell experimented with an alternate version, simply called the Ghost. This version was more stylized, darker, creepier,
Sieht voll geil aus.
and carried a long chain weapon. It looked like something straight out of a Halloween skin pack and was meant to be a legendary troop with stealth, splash, and a slightly higher cost. Visually, it was stunning, but Supercell decided against it, saying the unit didn't look holographic enough to fit into the Clash Royale world. Number 16, Invisible Spell.
Unsichtbarer Fluch.
This one's a fan concept, but it caught a lot of attention for how insane it could be.
Oh mein Gott, du kannst Karten unsichtbar machen?
Imagine a spell that makes your troops completely invisible to enemy
Zauber, ja.
defenses. No targeting, no counterplay, just pure stealth. The original idea
Nein, das ist ein Unsichtbarkeitszauber wäre zu krass, Bruder. Vor allem wie bei Ballon. Das ist auch zu OP, Bruder. Das ist auch OP.
had it at 2 elixir, which would have been totally broken on something like Hog Rider or Sparky. Some versions bumped it up to 4 elixir, gave it a short radius and limited duration, but even then, it would still be devastating. A
Das
well-timed
wäre so krass gewesen für 2
invisible spell could
Elixir.
let a high-damage troop walk straight through defense and hit towers before anyone could react.
Ja,
It
das wär
basically
krank.
removes
By the way, Chat, ich habe jetzt ein neues Deck gestern rausgespielt und also rausgefunden. Und ich spiele jetzt bei fast 6000 Trophäen, Digga. Ich habe gestern Abend 300 Trophäen gemacht.
one of Clash Royale's core rules, reactive counterplay. Cool on paper, but in reality it would make defense feel pointless. That's why this one stays in the realm of fanfiction. Number 17, Walnut Bowling Minigame. This one isn't a card,
Walnut Bowling, was?
but it's one of the coolest side mode ideas fans have come up with. A
Ach so.
Plants vs. Zombies style minigame where you drop logs, tornadoes, and other spells to stop waves of incoming enemies. No towers, no troops, just timing and spell placement. It would have added a totally different rhythm from Clash Royale. More arcade, more chaotic, and honestly, way more fun than grinding ladder or Clan Wars 2.
Ja.
It's the kind of mode that could have gone viral, especially with casual players. Still no sign of it ever happening, but man, we can dream.
Tot,
This
Mann.
one is wild.
Ich will Karten sehen, Mann.
Number 19, Empty Tower. This
Empty Tower. Ein customable Tower, also ein Tower, der leer ist.
one is wild. A buildable tower shell where you insert a ranged unit like Musketeer or Magic Archer, and it becomes a temporary defensive building.
Du kannst einfach Hex oder Magier oder so einfach draufpacken, wie du möchtest.
It gives the troop bonus range and protection for about 30 seconds, letting you reposition and protect key units mid-match. People even joked about it being a champion building or a Diamond Pass exclusive. It's definitely cheesy, but it's also high skill if balanced
Das
right.
wäre viel zu krass, sag ich auch.
Still, it walks the line of turning Clash Royale into tower defense inside tower defense, which could be either amazing or totally cursed. I mean, just imagine placing Evo archers into a tower. Number 20, the fan
Digga.
building. Inspired by Clash of Clans, this fan idea introduces a fan building that constantly pushes enemy troops away in a straight line for 20 seconds. It doesn't
Oha! Digga, einfach Ventilator, Bruder, krank. Ey, einfach ein Ventilator, der die Truppe die ganze nach hinten pusht.
Deal damage, but
Come on.
it is pure disruption. Ground, air, doesn't matter. You drop this thing and it just blows everything back. People suggested making it super expensive, like 7 or 9 Elixir to balance
Das wäre auch cool.
its power, but even then, it could shut down entire win conditions. If it didn't push your own troops, this thing would be in every deck. It's
Digga, es kann sogar deine eigenen Truppen pushen. Okay, ist so OP, sorry.
unique for sure,
Raus.
but way too easy to abuse. Number 21, champion spells. What if spells had abilities like champions? Well, that's what this concept explores. One version, a golden fireball that splits into
Da bin ich raus. Das kann ich nicht. Das kann ich nicht.
5 smaller fireballs, another, a rocket that speeds up midair if you activate it. It breaks a lot of Clash Royale's core design rules though, like predictable spell timing and static damage, but the idea is super fun. The problem, that would be the balancing. Too weak and no one uses them, too strong and they become completely unfair. It's a cool thought experiment, but maybe it's best left there.
Lieber nicht.
Number 22, the Time Spirit. This one is actually genius. The Time Spirit doesn't do damage, it just rewinds one enemy troop back to where it was a few seconds ago. It sounds broken, but it has smart counters. It's weak against swarms and doesn't work well if your opponent spaces correctly. This is probably one of the
Boah.
most viable fan-made card concepts out there. With the right cost and targeting limits, it could genuinely fit the game. Number
Ich
23.
sag, ist auch okay. Was OP wäre, hat er gerade eben gezeigt, wenn die Karte einfach dann wieder zurück zu ins Deck geschmissen wird. Auf der hat die Karte nie gedroppt. Das wäre krass. Floating Balloons for Ground Troops. Also ein Floating ist überschwemmen. Ballon für Bodentruppen.
This one is just straight up
Also ein Ballon, der die Bodentruppen nach oben trägt wahrscheinlich.
chaos. You attach a balloon to a ground unit, and for a few
Nein.
seconds, it flies.
Nein,
Suddenly,
nein.
your Pekka is floating over buildings like it's nothing.
Nein.
To balance it, people suggested give the balloons low HP and a short duration. If the balloons get popped, your troop dies instantly. But if it doesn't, you've got a flying tank that is
Digga,
going straight to the
das ist so
tower.
krank.
It's high risk, high reward, and
Aber wäre auch cool irgendwie.
the pure mayhem. Number 25. Headhunter. This fan-made Headhunter concept, created by Mythic Royale, had the potential to become one of Clash Royale's most unique defensive cards. Several versions were imagined,
Boah, es macht die Gegner langsamer
each one with different
und Damage wie diese Banditen.
stats and effects, but all shared one core idea: slowing down enemies on hit. The first version featured fast hit speed, low damage, and a long-range attack that applied a slowing effect. The second was more balanced, with medium stats across the board, but the third idea leaned fully into control. Slow hit speed, very low damage, but a massive slowing effect, designed to stall even the biggest pushes. Essentially, it would function like an ice wizard without splash,
Digga, Bruder.
Essentially, it would function like an ice wizard without splash, but with higher HP to make up for its lack of area damage. A pure support card. It's unlikely Supercell will add it, but with some polish, the Headhunter could be a meta-defining favorite. Number 26. Ice Minion. This one
Ice Minion, less health, higher freeze damage.
is deceptively simple, but potentially
Ein Drache, der die Gegner einfriert.
game-changing. The Ice Minion would look and feel like a regular minion, but with a twist.
Oh mein Gott, ein Lakai, der mit Eiszauber das ist auch krank. Hä, wer kommt auf so einen Scheiß?
Way more health and a completely different role. Instead of supporting pushes, this minion would be a flying win condition, targeting only towers. It wouldn't hit troops, it wouldn't play defense, it would head straight for the enemy's princess tower. And here's the kicker: when it dies, it explodes with a freeze effect,
Das ist
locking
geil.
everything nearby and
Sollen die droppen, sage ich.
dealing AoE damage. It's like combining a minion, free spell, and death damage into one unit, and giving air decks a fresh win condition outside
Das
of
ist geil.
Lava Hound.
Das ist
Number
geil.
27.
Das ist geil.
Ice Dragon.
Eisdrache. Das wollte ich dachte, das wäre das. Eisdrache wäre geil. Wie so Eismagier, nur in der Luft.
Now this one would be seriously cool.
Yeah.
I guess literally. Think Baby Dragon,
Yeah.
but with a frosty twist.
Yeah.
Instead of spitting fireballs, the Ice Dragon would launch snowballs
Das wäre so geil. Das wäre so geil.
or ice spirits. The concept is simple but brilliant. Slightly less damage than Baby Dragon, but with an added slow effect on everything it hits.
Das wäre aber auch ein bisschen zu OP, weil keiner würde mehr Babydrache spielen, alle würden noch diesen Eisdrachen spielen, alle.
That means that
Das ist ein bisschen zu OP.
support troops, swarms, and even tanks
Aber
would
geile Idee.
move slower, giving you more time to react, defend, or build a counter push. It's not game-breaking, but it adds a fresh layer of control and versatility,
Was ist das denn jetzt?
especially for air decks. Number 28. Flame Flinger. This concept is pretty unique, and it actually feels like something that could work in Clash Royale. The Flame Flinger would move very slowly, lobbing large fire sparks at enemies from a distance, dealing area damage with each hit. But here is the fun twist. When it's destroyed, a fire spirit jumps out. It's a small touch, but it adds so much personality, almost like the little fire spirit was driving the thing the entire time. Balance-wise, it wouldn't deal massive damage per shot, but the splash effect and persistent
Alles geil gegen Bodentruppen, so diese Skeletten und so ein Scheiß, dagegen ist es OP.
pressure, especially if it worked like a cannon cart-style troop,
Ja,
could
so.
introduce a
Die
new
werden alle
kind
dead.
of ranged control. Strong, flavorful, and mechanically fresh, Flame Flinger could be a fiery new addition to the game's arsenal.
Das ist ofenmäßig, aber mit einer höheren Schussrate, ja.
Number 29. Night Witch. Tower Troop. So, tower troops are always tricky to balance, but this
Was sehe ich? Warte mal. Mega Tower. Chat. Nein.
29. Night Witch.
Bitte guck euch diese Mega-Ritter an. Mega-Ritter als Turmtruppe.
Tower Troop. So, tower troops are always tricky to balance, but this concept could really shake things up. Imagine a Night Witch as a tower troop, permanently sitting on the Princess Tower, attacking both air and ground with a shorter range, but much heavier damage. Like the original Night Witch, she'd also spawn bats over time, adding some passive pressure and defensive value. Because of her limited range, she'd need support from spells or long-range troops to
Ja, wäre okay.
deal with early threats. But when something finally walks into her zone, boom. Deleted. Of course, there are downsides. She wouldn't hit us close to the river like the Princess or Dagger Duchess, but that's what makes her interesting. You'd have to build a deck around her strengths, stacking control cards, countering air, and playing slower. It's a really fresh take on tower troops, and something that
Ich sag, das kann man droppen.
could lead to a brand new meta.
Könnte man
Number
droppen.
30. Icehound.
Eishund.
This one is pretty straightforward, but super interesting.
Ist wie Babydrache auf den.
Icehound would work a lot like Lava Hound. Slow, tanky, fire straight at the tower, but instead of exploding
ice
into lava
halt,
puffs,
yeah.
it would have a few big twists. First, when it dies, it would trigger a freeze effect, slowing down everything nearby for a couple of
ja,
seconds.
okay, das ist krass.
Second, while it's alive and attacking, it would slow the attack speed of any buildings or tower troops it's hitting. Kind of like a passive debuff. It'd probably cost the same as a Lava Hound, but to keep it balanced, it would spawn fewer icy pups than the Lava Hound does. This way, it still has value, but it isn't
Ja, ich bin eh kein Fan von Lavahund. Ich glaube, den zockt sowieso keiner.
completely busted with the freeze effect on top of everything else. Number 31. Igloo. The Igloo would be a 3 Elixir epic building that spawns ice spirits every 5 seconds.
Oh, Iglo ist cool. Wenn es nur 3 kosten würde. Sollen die droppen. Ich glaube, ich auch schon mal irgendwo gesehen auf YouTube Shorts oder sowas. Keine Ahnung. Iglo sollen die droppen, Bruder.
Think of it like a frozen version of the Furnace. Since Ice Spirit is already one of the most popular cycle cards in Clash Royale, adding a building around it just kinda makes sense. It's defensive, fast-paced,
Aber Weihnachtsmann und KKG, ja.
and could bring a fresh chill
That's cool,
to
that's
cycle
cool,
decks.
that's cool.
The concept was created by a designer called Me Graphics, and it is genuinely brilliant. But the next 2 ideas from him, they are even more insane. Especially the last one.
Okay, die letzten 2 jetzt, ne?
Number 32. Bat's Cave.
What?
This one is
Also so ein Fledermaus-Haus, glaube ich.
long overdue. The Bat's Cave is an epic building that spawns bats every 4 seconds. We've had ground spawning huts forever, but a building that spawns air troops, that would open up completely new strategies.
Ey, krass, Jane, wir haben noch keine Hütte oder so, ne? Die Lufttruppen spawnen. Wir haben ja Barbarenhütte, Koboldhütte, diese anderen Kobold-Käfische und so, Skelette, aber wir haben nichts für die Luft. Das wäre eigentlich auch geil.
And deck types. This would be
Ich sag, das können die auch droppen.
the card that finally makes air control decks more viable. Number 33. Submarine. The Submarine is a concept so unique,
Okay, das ist das Letzte.
it genuinely feels like something that could reinvent how Clash Royale works. It's a troop designed to control the water, a part of the arena that's really never been used in gameplay.
Einfach in dieser Mitte bei Wasser packst du dieses U-Boot rein.
The Submarine acts like
Einfach ein U-Boot, was du einfach in das Wasser packst.
A champion-level cannon cart. When placed in the river, it can submerge and stay hidden, just like a royal ghost or archer queen. While underwater,
Man kann ihn auch nicht angreifen einfach.
it can't be targeted, but it slowly loses HP to balance things out. Once surfaced, it attacks with rockets, dealing damage to both air and ground
Okay, es verliert HP einfach so selber. Aber
troops
Bruder,
with a long range similar to Expo or Princess. The player can control when it dives or resurfaces using an ability button, each costing 1
Er kann sogar tauchen.
elixir. And because it's in the water, it can only patrol one side of the arena, depending on where you place it. That adds a layer of positioning strategy we've never really had before.
Das könnte aber auch cool sein, aber vielleicht auch ein bisschen zu OP, weil imagine, du hast keine Truppen dafür. So, wie willst du das verteidigen, Bruder?
Troops like Musketeer or Archers can hit it, but others like Hog Rider or Bandit can't reach it at all. It's part stealth, part siege, and 100% disruptive. This card is bold, imaginative, and exactly the kind of thing that would break the Clash meta wide open
Real talk,
if it ever got added. Now, since we're through so many card ideas that don't even exist, you gotta check out this next video where I share one lore fact for every card
Das ist ein
in
geiles
Clash
Video,
Royale.
Digga. 33 Karten, die zu OP werden. Das ist wirklich auch echt kreativ, muss ich sagen.